Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Big League Breakdowns for our predictions of the 2025 MLB season. My name is Tyler, my co-host for this one, Will and John. Bobby, our producer, in that beautiful BLB merch I
We don't have.
that we don't
That you
have,
can't
but
buy.
was
My
specially
wife made
made.
it.
Was
Yep.
a great gift, I must say. But yes, we are
That we
back
don't get.
to. Well, I don't
You
have it
too
either.
cannot buy a hat like that.
You know what's funny? This was made before Will and John were a part of
Yeah,
this at all.
true.
This was when me and Tyler were
So
running the show.
So
COVID present.
maybe
This is
when
CNN.
all of our shirts come out, because we have so many shirts that are gonna come out, then we'll
Wait,
maybe bring the hat too.
oh, I
Do it when you
almost did
get
a
to
thing.
100 subscribers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yes, we are close. Thank you for the support recently. 30 and 30 seems to have gone over well, which is
No, it
a lot of
didn't go
work.
well. Around the league in 30 days went well.
I mean, sorry. I knew I was gonna do. After 30 days, I still can't get it done.
We can
Around the
call it
league in
30 and 30.
days.
Yeah, whatever the other thing was called is too many characters.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's true.
it's over now.
You're
We're
right,
done.
but what he said is copyrighted. So
Sorry,
No, it's
that's
30 and 15 is
on me.
copyrighted. 30 and 30 is
We'll
up for grabs
live.
now.
That's on me. All right, let's get to our predictions for the 2025 season. Each of us have compiled a list of obviously every division in baseball. Some of us have win totals. We'll see how that goes as we go. But more importantly, mostly just figuring out what teams are going to be in what spots in the divisions, who's making the playoffs, and at the end, we will have a way too early World Series prediction for this one. But let's start out in the AL East. And John, I'll give it to you first since you're such an AL East lover. That I'll keep saying. I'll let you start this one out. What do you have going on in the AL East?
all right, gentlemen, I have the Orioles winning the division with 95 wins. I have the Yankees in second place with 88 wins. I have the Red Sox in third place with 86 wins. I have the Rays in fourth place with 85 wins. And I have Toronto in fifth place with 79 wins, bringing up the rear in the basement of the AL East, those overrated bastards up north.
Okay. I mean, I will say, and Will, we kind of talked about this pre-show or yesterday, I should say, the AL East for me was the toughest division to predict because right now I think it's probably the most injury-riddled division. Um, but I think all five of those teams have potential to be close. So yeah, Orioles on top, of course. Yankees still in second place. Interesting. We'll get into that. But Will, what do you have for your standings?
I don't think I went too far off anything I had said during our Around the League in 30 days stuff. But trying to keep that all in perspective was a bit of a challenge. I'm going to go in reverse because I find it more dramatic to start with five.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
in last place, I think is the one team that we can all agree with. I too had the Blue Jays in last place. I gave them 78 wins. And then in fourth, I went with the Red Sox. 83 wins, so they will have a bit of an improvement over their record last season, but only a couple wins. And then third, the Yankees at 85 wins. I think the injuries to Cole and Stanton do hurt the team. I am going to go on the limb of saying I do not think that Judge will last an entire season this year.
Agreed.
And the Yankees, I think, pitching wise, are being tested really early, and I still think there's potential injury issues with guys that are on the team. Second place, I have the Orioles with 88 wins. And first place, the dark horse going back to the way they used to be. The Rays are winning the division with 90 wins. I feel like the most shocking thing out of all this, based on anything I've said before, is that I put the Orioles second with 88 wins because I was so against them. But in the end, my thought was, all right, I do think the Orioles are worse than they were last year. But they won 91 games last year, and they were probably a team that should have won 97, 98 games, but they had that horrible offensive stretch throughout the second half that brought down their win total to 91. So they were ending this season with a record that really wasn't up to par with what it should have been. And so I'm basing the win total really off of what I think they should have done last year. And I do think there's probably a couple surprises. So even with the little injury to Henderson to start the season and whatever it'll take for him to find a rhythm after he comes back, I still think they're going to be at least out of the typical 2 or 3 or whatever you want to say, because I'm kind of throwing in the Yankees and Red Sox as the 3 of them when I say this. They're better than them, but I think the Rays are going to do Rays things again.
So, yeah, it's funny you said that about 30 and 32 because I have to say I'm gonna sound like a hypocrite. I can already tell with my predictions because, like, at the time, and of course things have changed. Like injuries have happened
Yeah.
in the past month, but a lot of the things I thought when you put it in perspective, I'm like, wow, I'm gonna like kind of go back on my words. So
That's fine. That's why we have those episodes. You can say what you want, but also it makes you think about other things. There's
Yeah.
some things I said later on, or even with this, was fairly, I feel like, high on the Red Sox when we did our episode way back when. But now, after considering everything else, I think their bullpen will be a huge factor.
Yeah.
And I do think there's a couple. I do like the rotation, but I do think in the long haul, I have questions about it. At least how consistently they'll stay effective the entire season. So yeah, there's things I backed off with the Red Sox. I probably would have told you they were a wild card team at the beginning of spring training.
Yeah, when we started around the league in 30 days, I had the Red Sox possibly being a wild card team, but then I looked at their lineup and was like, wow, outside of Bregman, this is really mediocre. Like,
Well, the other thing for them too is that their pitching staff has kind of been obliterated already with injuries. But yeah, I mean, again, I'll get to them in a second. In fifth, I'll go a reverse order as well. In fifth place, I do also have the Blue Jays. I have them at 78 wins, so I do see them having a minor improvement. I have them getting 4 extra wins this year. I do like their
so I
pitching
was the
staff.
friendliest to the Blue Jays.
Yeah,
Wow.
you were.
79 wins was friendly. Thank you, John. You were a kind man to Toronto and Canadians alike.
I do think that
Canadians alike.
I do think that they do get a few more wins. I do like their pitching rotation. I think Bo Bichette bounces back to some extent, but still have them at the bottom. Number 4, I have the Rays. This was one that I might regret because I do on paper actually think they're a dark horse. Now, McClanahan did get hurt the other day as our Tampa episode went out. It doesn't look as bad as it could have been, but we still don't know how long he'll be out for. But I have them at 82 and 80. So just one
You just
game
love
over
them as a
500.
500 team.
No,
That's just what you are. They're a 500 team, and no matter what they do or don't do, you're like, that's what they are.
That wasn't on purpose, but it is kind of
Yes, it
funny
was.
that I made that. All right, in third place, I have the New York Yankees, and I have them at 83 and 79. So I have them getting 11 less wins. I really think they're going to struggle with the injuries they have right now in the starting rotation. I do like the addition of Devin Williams in their bullpen, and I think that gives them stability back there. But I think, losing Cole for the year, losing Heel until sometime mid-season, they're even like scrambling now to really sign a pitcher because they're kind of screwed right now for opening day. So I think they're gonna have a tough time overcoming that. And as much as I hate predicting injuries, I do feel like Judge is gonna have a hard time playing 162 this year. Of course, losing Soto as well
Man's
hurts
back
that
is going to give
immensely.
out.
Yeah, exactly. So I do have them at 83 wins. In second place, I have the Boston Red Sox at 87 and 75. Despite the injuries to their pitching staff, I do still think this team has gotten better. I think the addition of Bregman is good. I think some of their young guys are going to develop. Interested to see how if Christian Campbell gets a starting gig because now Devers apparently is going to be DH and maybe Campbell plays second. So I think he's a really high prospect that could break out for them. But I do like the Red Sox this year, and I think once their starting rotation is fully healthy or close to fully healthy, they're going to be really dominant. And in first place, kind of regrettably, but not really, I do have the Orioles. And I only say that because I've really I really asked me this like 3 weeks ago. I would have said no. The Orioles are going to be in, third place maybe or second or even fourth. Like this is how competitive this division. I really struggled with this division. But I think overall they also have their injuries as well, to the pitching staff, and now there's questions if like Grayson's going to be out for a longer time and stuff like that. But I have them at 89 and 73, so still 2 games less than last year, but it's still good enough to win the division. I do think they take a little bit of a step back, but not enough to lose that division the way it stands now. I think the glaring thing in my picks was the Yankees being down at 83 wins. But I do really think they're going to take a step back this year. So I'm sure all the Yankees fans that already love us are going to love that. So yeah, that's what I have in the AL East. I don't think we have really much else to add outside of that. So producer,
Moving right along.
producer,
Let's
if you're
go,
ready,
O's, hon.
unless
You're ready.
okay,
We're good. Keep going. Keep
all
going.
right, cool. All right, AL Central. The not Comedy Central. We can't even call it that anymore with
You can
after what
call it.
happened
You might
last
be-
Yeah,
year.
we can call it that. I mean,
So part of it comedy.
listen, a division where the White Sox are in it, I think, is definitely comedic.
Well, I think this is another one we can agree on that the fifth spot is going to be what it is. But Will, I'll start with you this time, and let's go as we just did from the bottom to the top.
All right. So, no surprise, last place I have the White Sox. And to really draw out how bad again they're going to be 26 games behind the fourth place team. So I have them at 50 and
Behind the
112.
fourth place. Wow.
Yeah, I have them 50 and 112. I mean, are they going to be worse than they were the previous season? No. Are they going to be the worst team in the American League? Yes,
Yes.
and by 19 games.
Wait,
but
worst team in
this
the
is-
American League.
Oh, yeah, between the worst team in the American League, yeah, and not baseball, because I have a team that's worse.
Oh,
So
boy.
at 50 and 112, you're not the worst team in baseball. But yeah, the White Sox, because what's there to love? Absolutely nothing. And Thorpe, was it Drew Thorpe is out for the season now because of Tommy John?
Yeah.
So, young guy, you have some hopes for, and gone. So there's always 2028, maybe. A few years down the road. Fourth place, I have the Twins because the Twins are doing anything but going up. Pacoda, you can put them at first. Shut the front door. You are wrong.
When did we
The
become a
Twins-
PG show?
I don't know. Last episode, you were like that too, and I was confused. But I have them at 76 wins. I believe that they are going to be more of the Twins team that they were going into 2020 and maybe right afterwards when they were like 77, 79 wins. They're already going to be without Lewis to start the season, so there's already a big shot to their offense. So, I mean, I don't think there's really much to look forward to with this Twins team. And injuries are going to bite them again, especially from Buxton and Correa. So might as well get your hopes down now. Third place, slight wind change due to a recent trade, but I have the Guardians. Am I going to be going too low on the Guardians? Most likely. I mean, they're almost like the Brewers now of my predictions because I always think they're going to do worse than they do and whatever. I think I had them in third last year and look what happened. But I just don't like their offense at all. I mean, their pitching is always going to be dominant, but you do need some offense, and the loss of Naylor, I think, is just something that they have not been able to fill, and I do not think anyone is going to step up enough to fill it. I do like them bringing Nolan Jones back into the system, and I'm mad at the Rockies now for making my entire point, or at least half of my point, in the Rockies episode now Nolan void. But even with a couple extra wins I have tacked on since they got Jones in the deal, it's still not enough to really, I think, compete with the two teams that surprised last year and became playoff teams. And now it's who's second and who's first. Second place is the Royals. And the Royals, I really didn't have changing that much. And they're a team that I have kind of back and forth on the bubble with being a playoff team. Like there's a lot of little things after I made my predictions a week ago. I would like add a win here to a team, lose a win here. And they're without Pasquantino to start the season, which I do think is a big hit because they didn't have him for parts of the second half last year, and their offense definitely struggled because of it.
Yeah.
So I was curious if I thought that was enough to potentially push them out of a wild card spot. But I think Reagan's has got a shot at being a dark horse Cy Young candidate. I think their bullpen is a little bit better. India, will be a better addition to the front of the order than I originally gave him credit for, because I think he'll get on base. And so I have the team kind of at a comfortable 87 wins, which makes number one the Gritty Tigers. And not only are they going to be the Gritty Tigers, they are going to be the best record in the American League Gritty Tigers at 91-71. And I really don't have anything else to say to them because, I mean, they surprised everyone last year, and I think they only got better. And I think their biggest strength with their pitching, and they have more in the rotation now. Is it still maybe a complete 1 through 5? But I trust Hinch dearly. And one thing that I definitely had play a huge factor in my picks was how I thought managers would have an impact on their team. And I think Hinch is going to again lead this team to a playoff berth. And this time they're going to get a bye in the first round.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. All right, John, what do you have for the AL Central?
So I'm changing mine on the fly from what I wrote down.
Bobby is
over.
screwed now because you gave your producer something for a reason, and now the producer is screwed.
Oh, I didn't realize. Oh well.
No, it's fine. You're fine. You're fine.
Well, screw you. Here I go.
So, in last place, I have the White Sox at 50-112.
Stole my record.
Actually, that's what I had. Originally, I had 50-111, and I realized, oh, wait a minute, I didn't math right.
Well, you could say they have a rain out that just didn't make up because they don't matter, which is true.
I didn't want to be that guy.
That's a prediction. You can predict.
They don't matter. They don't play a full game. Tigers.
Next, I have the Twins at 75-87. Next, I have the Guardians at 88-74.
God damn, you gave them some wins.
I did.
By the way, Bobby, you're gonna have to tell me what the change was that he made because now I'm curious.
Yes,
I'm waiting.
The change.
He flipped. Oh, you chickened out.
Royals now at 88-74.
So a tie for second.
Yeah, and I have the Tigers winning 90 games at 90-72.
Was it because of what I said about Pasquantino?
Yes, it is.
I
didn't.
That's fair.
When I looked up what his injury is, I think with it being a hamstring injury, this is going to be bothering him the entire season. Those things
he's not
just go away overnight.
He's not a speed demon guy, so at least that doesn't hurt. But yes,
no, but
hamstrings can be kind of nagging. Yeah, well, they can be nagging to come back from if not treated properly. So it could be interesting.
I could see multiple stints on the IL for him.
Well, Will is right. I mean, Pasquantino, when he was out for them the second half of the year, I think they were below 500 when he was out of the lineup. I think they ended up being like 31-33 or something. After he was out, they got him back for that Orioles series, but
yeah,
first of all, they didn't really need him, and then in the Yankees series, I don't really think he played a big part either.
Look at that. Bobby is such a pro; he doesn't even need us to send it to him beforehand.
Yeah,
let's call it pro. Let's call it that.
He's fucking up my predictions.
I got it.
I took your Tigers.
All right, so
I just wanted to erase the Tigers.
He took my Tigers. He made everything red. God, I can't have anything.
So this is the one that you're gonna call me a hypocrite on. You can
Tigers aren't in first, and you're a bastard.
No, the White Sox are winning the division.
You can all yell at me.
Wins are in first.
You can all yell at me after. This is probably the division where I am the most hypocritical. In last place, I do have the White Sox. I have them at 53-109, 12 plus wins to what they had last year. I do have them. I do have them as the second worst team in the league, and I think me and Will are probably gonna have the same
league
in the entire league. I'm saying like 53
in baseball.
In baseball.
I hate that. I'm not getting on that again. All right, in fourth place, I
Well,
have
Tyler's wrong.
the Guardians at 81 and 81. This is one that I think that could come back because the Brewers are the NL team for this, and the Guardians are the AL team. It's like when you think they're out, they produce 90 wins. So that's the one that could come back. But I really think without Naylor in that lineup, I think they're very thin, and I just don't have a lot of confidence in that offense like I have in previous years, which was very little, but I even have less now in that offense. In third place, I have the Gritty Tigers.
Wow,
Okay.
you really did put him back.
I,
Yeah.
I have
Wow,
them at
dude.
I have them at 83 and 79.
Wow.
Three less wins than last year. Now, do I think they got better in the offseason? I do think they slightly got better, which is like, all right, well, how do they have three less wins? Part of it is, proximity. Like other teams are obviously going to get better too. And I think this division, the White Sox getting 12 more wins kind of affect that as well. And then the teams up above too. But first of all, they have Javi's Baez starting at third base right now. That's problem number one. So automatically they can't win the division. Problem number two, Parker Meadows is now expected to be out for a while, and Perez, who is supposed to replace him, is now also out. So they basically have a spot in the outfield that's not filled right now. I think they might be signing Margot as we record this on March 24th.
Yes, he did. They did. Yeah.
But I worry about them just a little bit. I think you're gonna get great pitching out of Scooble, and Flaherty. I think Job has a lot of upside to be like a good 3 this year. But Mize, I'm a little bit concerned about. And yeah, I have them at 3. And I know I'm very hypocritical, but I'm a realist as well. Okay, and the Tigers I have in third. In second place, I have the Twins at 84 and 78. One more win above the Tigers. Simply, I think with this pick compared to the Royals, who I do have in first place, I think the Royals have the Tigers have the probably the best 1-2 in this division, but I think the Royals have the best 1 through 5 in terms of their starting rotation. And I thought that gave them a big advantage. Plus, I think this team is just going to grow offensively this year. But sorry, getting back to the Twins real quick, I like their offense a little bit more than I do the Tigers this year. Granted, that means everybody has to stay healthy, which is very tough for the Twins. But I just see them being in second in this division this year, start to claw their way back. But I do have the Royals finishing first. As I said, I trust their starting rotation. 1 through 5 more than anybody else in this division. I think their offense gets better. I think Bobby Witt's going to continue to be awesome. Pasquantino, losing him is very tough. But I think they'll be able to prevail and win this division at 87 wins. So even less than the Orioles with that win total, but 87 wins the AL Central for me. And let's move over to the AL West now.
I'm just hearing a lot of mediocre baseball.
It is like when you look at it's again, I kind of said this before, but when you look at my predictions and stuff, it's like, wow, like when you really like math this out, it does look like a lot of mediocre baseball. But like, I think that's good though. I think all the teams are becoming competitive. Like
we're starting to get. I will agree in my predictions. I'm starting to get back to the point where I think, you're gonna have some a little more 80-win playoff teams again, like it was in the late 2000s, and it was definitely more interesting than when it only took 88 games. You thought 90 would give you a division, whereas nowadays there have been times where if you win 90 games, you might make a wild card.
Yeah, right. So I think there's more parity in baseball, and I think that's why you're like my win totals are a little bit down on like division winners and stuff like that.
This is definitely the AL Comedy Central if they win the division with 87.
So Comedy
wins.
Central only works if it's alliteration. Call it the
Well,
Wacky West or something.
Didn't the
I wasn't talking about the West. I was talking about the Central.
Yeah.
Wacky
That-
West.
Didn't the Twins win the division with like 85 wins like a few years ago? So it's definitely
87.
I
possible.
mean, I remember the
But they
Cardinals
also had
won the World
87.
Series with only 85 wins
Yeah.
in the early 2000s. That's what I remember.
So yeah. All right, yeah. Moving over to the AL West. We
Mhm.
will start again at the bottom. Will, you may lead off.
Angels are in last because I have no faith in them. Plain and simple. I gave them 69 wins because I was generous, but no,
Nice.
I have no faith in this
Nice.
Angels organization ever. Are they going to be better than they were last year? Yeah, but you also had the worst record in franchise history. Will Mike Trout play a full season? Nope, because he's Mike Trout. Will he play more games than he did last year? Probably, but maybe he'll
Don't
play
hold your
like
breath.
50 instead of 40. Right.
I was
So
about to say, didn't he
at this
only
point
play like a
now,
month?
there should be I'm waiting for there to be a sports betting as to how many games it'll take for Mike Trout to get hurt because there's got to be something out there. I mean, let's be
Isn't there
honest.
already one?
They're
Has to be for
Not on the
probably you can
sports
bet on
books.
everything nowadays.
Not on the sports books.
I mean, they brought in a bunch of veteran names, which again, we talked about it 10 years ago, or 10 years ago, probably a bunch of them didn't exist. But no, 6 years ago with them in their heydays, they would have looked not too bad. Nowadays, it looks like you're just grasping at straws. And so with this, and also the Angels have a history of pitchers they sign do really bad or get hurt. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm keeping on that trend. They aren't proving anything wrong. I like Ron Washington as a manager. Nothing's changing. So the Angels are in last. And in fourth, I could not put them any higher if I wanted to. The Athletics are fourth, but I do have them getting 80 wins. I do think they're going to make the jump. I just think that the other teams are still slightly better. And so they're going to be fourth place at 80 games. They're going to be 8 back of who's winning the division. So they're definitely going to take the next step. But unfortunately, it's going to be just taking the next step as to what you might get in a year or two from now, which the way that those other 3 teams are in the division, they could easily make moves next year and make things difficult. But I do think you can expect some hope and some life out of the Athletics this year as they have a new temporary home in Sacramento. In third place, everyone's high in this team but me. I have the Texas Rangers at third with 82 wins because I hate their pitching. I hate it. I hate their rotation. I hate their bullpen. I think that's going to be the death of them. They could have the best offense in baseball or one of the best offensive in baseball like they had 2 years ago and be like the Diamondbacks were last year, which is a great lineup and terrible pitching, or at least in the Diamondbacks, it was a terrible bullpen. And the Rangers, with the injuries, you're going to have terrible starting rotation and a terrible bullpen, and that's going to kill your team. It makes me think back to the Phillies in 2019 when we got Harper. We were starting to move off of Kapler, and we thought we'd be a 500 or over 500 playoff team, and we were sitting nice and pretty at 82 and 80 or 81 and 81 for a while. So this is where the Rangers are going to sit this year. Tough. In second, now this is where I went back and forth a lot. But in second, I did go with the Astros, and in first, I went with the Mariners. The Astros, I feel like I'm one of the few that is very high on the Astros still. I know they lost some pieces, but I still think overall, between what they have to start the season and what they're going to get as the season goes on, that they're just going to they're the team for me that until they prove me otherwise, they're going to find a way to make it into the playoffs. And I do like their offense still in general. So I gave them 86 wins because they're going to have Luis Garcia out a little longer. His rehab there's a setback in his rehab. And I think Jose Altuve will be a worse left fielder than Kyle Schwarber is. Because this man in left field in I know spring training, you can do a lot of things. You can test some things out. But seeing how this man plays left field and they're sticking with it, it's not just a spring training experiment.
Come on, he's short enough to ride the rainbow all the way to the top of the Crawford boxes.
That was too many words to say. How did you get that out of your mouth? This dude can't even catch a normal pop-up. Like, it's like a 50-50, it feels like, chance. And it's like, hopefully it works out as the season goes on, but I feel like that's going to hurt it a bit. And the Mariners, as much as I want to hate the Mariners. They won 85 wins last year with their worst offense, arguably, in a long time, and a lot of injuries. I gave the Rays the slack of having the worst record or worst offense in their base or their franchise history last year and have put them in first. I feel like for the Mariners, I have to give them a few more wins than they were last year, and they won 85 games. So I have them at 88 wins. Because of how I've taken some wins back now from the Astros, given injury situations and defensive choices, I think the Mariners will take back the division, not commandingly, but they will take it back.
Okay, interesting. Definitely curious. I mean, the Rangers pick makes sense. But to have them like that low, I was a little bit surprised
4
about.
games better than last year. 2 games worse than what I predicted they would be last year. I think I had made 84 wins last year.
Yeah. All right, John, you are up.
Well, Will and I are simpatico with last place, and it's not hard to see why. The Angels are going to be 66 and 96 in my pick. Then this one might be a shocker. I have the Mariners in 4th place at 79 and 82. Not addressing their offensive issues.
See, that's what you could have done, John. You could have had where both the White Sox and the Mariners had a game that they did not complete, and both of them would have batted 161 games. You had it perfect, and you screwed yourself out of that situation. The math was mathing. You just didn't realize it. You were like 10 steps ahead of yourself.
Oh my god. Anyway, at the Mariners with 79 and 82 because they play in Seattle, so it's bound to be rained out, even though they have a dome. So it doesn't make sense.
Baseball podcast.
Don't you just love baseball?
Right. Oh god. Anyway, next I have the Athletics at 81 and 81. I agree with Will. I think they do take the next step. I think they have a little bit more heart in them after leaving Oakland, and after, actually maybe they'll actually have fans in the stands while they're in Sacramento. But yeah, next I have the Astros at 85 and 77. Yeah, I think that they are getting older. I think they're getting not better, let's put it that way. And I think that they lost a lot of pieces that were incredibly important for them. And also having the shortest guy in baseball in left field, that's not really helping your cause. Anyway, that leaves the Tetas Rangers at 89 and 73.
Oh my
god. In my top spot here. I think that was just honestly by default, because I think they're due to bounce back, but at the same time, I also have no faith in any other team in this division, especially Seattle.
Okay. All right. I will have a clean sweep with the basement of this division. I do have the Angels at 67 and 95.
That was the nicest.
4 more
we
wins.
Sweeped the entire American League as far as
last place.
It's
last
not
place.
hard. Not that hard. I agree with your point though, Will. Like, they were a franchise worst last year. It can't get any worse than that. They didn't do much good in the offseason, but it is better than what they had last year. So I do have them 4 more wins. I have the Athletics in 4th. I did not have the jump that you guys had, though. I still see them at 72 and 90. Again, backpedaling a little bit to what I said, because I did want to see them jump. But hey, we did the Athletics back on day whatever, 2 or 3. And again, when you're trying to get win totals and trying to get the correct numbers, got to take wins away. And they were one of the teams I took away. So they do get better.
I mean, do you have a rewind? Do you have a replay feature,
dude?
Not actively.
To call Tyler out on his BS right now.
I haven't watched it back, but it's so bad. Like, I know that I've literally everything I've said is the exact opposite of what I said on the 30 and 30. But again, when number crunching happens, this is what happens. In third place, I have the Mariners. I have them at 85 and 77, which is the same exact uh record that they had last year. Pitching is going to be as good as it was last year. Probably offense, I think, might even be a little bit better. But yeah, that's what I have as the Mariners in third place. In second place, I have the Astros at 86 and 76, one win above those Mariners. Um, so I, I'm with you, Will, right? Like I think a lot of people are like, wow, they got so much worse. They did lose a lot of talent. Like losing Bregman and Tucker, I understand that. That's a lot of talent. But their pitching staff, when fully healthy, is still really, really good. I think Walker coming in replaces some of that production you got from Bregman. I don't see them taking a huge step back, um, like people might be predicting, and even what I was thinking many, many days ago. But I have them in second. And then in first place, I have the Rangers with the best record in the AL at 90 and 72. Which is kind of funny to think about. The best record in the NL is 90 and or AL is 90 and 72. But I did have the NL is just better. There's just better teams in the NL. And I really think you'll see that in my predictions because I think, five teams with above 90 wins in the NL. So, yeah, but I think the Rangers are going to bounce back offensively in a big way. Their pitching does concern me a little bit, but I think it's going to be good enough to propel them through this season. And yeah, like I said, I just don't see the Mariners changing too much. I think the Astros sort of stay similar to what they were. I do have them with two less losses, so I guess in a way they are taking a slight step back, but still with 86 wins. So again, for me, the Rangers are going to come back and get themselves back into the playoffs after that disastrous
special.
last season. Yeah. All right, we are moving over to the
Do we need to
NL.
recap our league, or are we doing it at the end?
Let's do that now. Actually, let's do so. Yeah,
Because we didn't say wild card teams.
yeah. So I'll go first on this one. So my wild cards for the AL, I had the Red Sox as the first wild card at 87, and 75. My second wild card were the Astros at 86 and 76. And my third wild card were the Mariners at 85 and 77. Leaving the first team out as the Twins and followed by the Yankees and Tigers. So, yeah, that is my predictions. I think you're going to have three AL West teams in the postseason this year. So, can't wait till only one goes in, but we'll see when that happens. Will, what about you?
Well, my division winners again were the Mariners, Tigers, and Rays. Very interesting bunch to lead your divisions. And then my wild card teams, the first were the Orioles with 88 wins. Second are the Royals at 87 wins, and third the Astros at 86. So I have one wild card team from each division. And the first team out are the Yankees, followed by the Guardians and Red Sox next. I ready for the New York teams to love my picks, especially when we get to the National League.
Oh boy, here we go. All right, John, what do you have for your wild card teams?
All right, so for my wild card, I went with the Guardians as my bottom wild card, then the Yankees, then the Gritty Tigers, then I have the Rangers, the Royals, and at the top spot in the AL, I have the Orioles at 95 wins.
He's going through seeding. Yeah, he's not listing six wild card
I was
teams.
like, is there a rule change that I missed? Like, what just happened?
Well,
He's doing the hockey thing of like more than half of the teams make the playoffs, so
Yeah.
everyone's in.
I'll get that wrong from the National League too. Whatever. I gave my full picks. Anyway, the first team that I have out is the Dead Sox, and followed by the Rays, and then the Ashos, according to their hat. Yeah.
The New City Connects.
All right. We
No,
move
no,
over.
those are just
I
the
know.
Stros.
You're
I was
talking
about the word.
But I'm thinking of New City Connects now. You're talking about the lovely was it New Era hats
Yeah.
that are may
Killed it,
or may
guys.
not be still out there.
Killed it. Good job.
$1,000 hats.
You
Good
killed
job.
certain
They may
things.
not be. They're absolutely out there.
They definitely are. You can find them somewhere. All right, let's move over to the NL. We will start in the East, and of course, if John's the AL East lover, well, you got to be the NL East lover. That's the
I
only
do.
natural thing.
Well,
So,
I guess Bobby
do.
doesn't care about
Bobby,
the NL
He's the
East, huh?
producer. He doesn't have his own
I hate
bracket.
this division. Everything about it sucks. Okay, that's
See,
my
that's why
opinion.
I have
hate
to be
it.
the spokesperson because I'm not showing that much hate. Unless your name is the Marlins. Because last place I have the Miami Marlins at, you ready? 44 and 118. They're going to be kissing breaking that record,
I'm
but they're
the
not going
hater.
to quite
Holy
do
shit,
it.
dog.
Wow.
The Marlins are
God.
literally putting out a AAA team this year. Like
Back-to-back years of
this.
having.
Yeah, I mean, they're putting out a AAA team, and they're putting out a AAA team in arguably in the hardest division in baseball between the Phillies, Braves, and Mets at the top. And the Nationals are getting better. They're just stuck behind everyone in front
They're
of them.
just stuck.
The Marlins are just that much worse than everyone else. Where I think they're going to be 50 games out. They're going to be eliminated in August, first. The Phillies Wall of Fame ceremony weekend will also be the goodbye Marlins weekend. They're going to be officially eliminated or mathematically eliminated, if I want to be proper in how I say it. No, I mean, and they got injuries to start the season already with Jesus Sanchez and Ryan Weathers. So whatever major leaguers you had left, gone. I have no idea what to think of this team, and they could win 55 games and purely because no one knows who they're facing. But it's I don't know what to think with this team anymore. Fourth place, I have the Nationals. And now I'm quickly going to get nicer because I did find ways to give Nationals a little more wins. I have them at 76 wins. So it's 6 more wins than they had the previous 2 seasons. I do think they're a better team. And I do think they're just simply roadblocked by everyone that's in front of them. If injuries were to happen to whoever I have at second and third, maybe in a long shot they could sneak into a third spot in the division if they get 82 wins. But I feel like right now, just hoping they get a few extra wins each year is really what you got to hope for. And in the next year or two, when the right free agents out there, you can add them and hopefully get the big jump then. Third place, the New York Mets. So, I mean, it's really tough to try to figure out how you do 1 through 3 in this division, unless you're me and you like the Phillies. But the Mets' main thing for me is between them and the Braves. What do I think? Who do I think is better looking at each of the areas: offense, starting pitching, and bullpen? And I just have way too many questions right now with the Mets. Sorry, I'm lagging like crazy, so I'm letting my computer catch up. It's the Mets pitching I have a lot of questions about. The bullpen is going to rely heavily on Diaz. I don't think he might be a little better than he was last year, but I think that's kind of the Diaz I would expect right now, low threes guy. I have a lot of questions about that starting rotation, and I don't love the offense. I mean, I love the top half of that lineup. I mean, I don't think there's anything not to like about it, but the bottom half of the lineup, I think, is kind of iffy once you get past Vientos or Nimmo, whoever's batting fifth. And they're going to start the season without Alvarez and McNeil. So I think that they are a good team, and they're a team that they can make the wild card as the third. They can make the playoffs as the third wild card seed, and if they get into the playoffs, they could run off and do a lot of what they did last year, because if everyone's healthy, this team could secretly be dangerous. But also, this is a team where there's a lot of little question marks, and with the top of the division being strong between the Phillies and Braves, and that immediately would push them to back end wild card spot. And there's other teams in the West that could give the Mets a run for their money. So I think they're very much a bubble team right now on the playoffs, unless someone stands out, not Clay Holmes, or they make a trade at the trade deadline that just really boosts the team in the second half.
Yeah.
In second place, I have the Braves. Braves offense will be much more like it's used to being this year. I do think the starting pitching will be okay in the end. I think when Strider gets back, it'll be a big boost, and I think he's going to be very good this year, even if he is behind by a month or whatever, depending on when he gets back. The bullpen, I have a lot of question marks. They really are kind of piecemealing it together, but Iglesias is a very good piece to have at the back end. But I think the Braves kind of, even when they, I don't want to say healthy because I don't know when they truly were ever healthy, but there were signs last year that maybe people were finally kind of at least exposing the Braves a bit, or at least enough where the Braves were taking a little while to kind of get in the groove, and they just kind of fell into too much of a slump where when the injuries hit, they were too much out of it. Did they make the playoffs? Yeah, with 89, and then they were kind of dead when they entered the postseason. So I do think, all in all, the things will be better this year, and they're still a team to watch out for in the playoffs. And the Phillies, I have first 97 wins, and I really wanted to push it to 100 because I really think this team could surprise a lot of people this year because they won 95 games last year with pretty much no number 5 pitcher for like 2/3 of the season, as well as dealing with various injuries to like Real Muto was out for nearly a month, like in the middle of summer. Turner was out for a month because of his hamstring. Harper was kind of banged up a bit at times. Like they had various points where they were dealing with injuries, but guys stepped up. And I think Max Kepler is going to be a huge boost offensively over what they had with Rojas. Having Luzardo, even if he's not ace Luzardo, is going to be much better than what we had last year. Phillies are starting the season with Walker as the number 5 pitcher while Suarez is dealing with a stiff back, but Suarez has always kind of dealt with a stiff back year after year, and they're kind of tackling it now. So my hope is that he'll be out for a couple weeks, comes back mid-April, and then you got your killer 5, and maybe the Phillies will go with a 6-man rotation for a while, whether they throw Walker into the mix or Joe Ross. And I still think the bullpen is really, really effective, even without Hoffman or Estevez at the back end. And I think Alvarado, who's looked really good in spring training, could have a huge bounce back year.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think the top 3 in this division are the ones that can be debated. Especially those two. But yeah, the Phillies I think are gonna be strong with their starting 5 this season. All right, John, you're up to bat.
So, once again, we're simpatico with the Marlins being in the bottom of this lovely division. The dead fish reign again in the cellar. At 50 and 112, I was nicer than you.
Very nice.
So
The Nationals, I don't think are ready to crack the 500 mark yet, but I think that they are getting close, and I think that this is a young team that, if they keep doing things right, will could be a wild card team next year. This is where I have the debate. Where I think we could have the debate. I have the Braves at 89 and 73 in third place. I think that they are getting older. I think that them not having Acuna for arguably the first month of the season could put them.
Half.
Yeah, so I think that could put them in a hole where they have to dig up, where they have to dig out of it. And especially in this division, it's going to be tough. Plus, their pitching is not as grand as it once was. So I would say I like the Braves in the third place spot. Next, I have the Mets at 89 and 73. I think that I think what will happen is it will come down to the same thing as last year, where the Mets pull out, at the end of the season and pass the Braves in winning percentage, whether that be the not winning percentage in divisional wins, excuse me. And that's how they get second place here. So yeah. Anyway, I have the Phillies at a safe. I went safe with this one, in all honesty, at 93 and 69.
Nice.
Thanks. So I just thought that 93 wins is safe for this team no matter what. I think they are the most consistent team in this division. There's not a lot of question marks, and that top 3 in your rotation is deadly. So in terms of this team, I like the Phillies taking this division in back-to-back years. And what is this, the first time in a long time for back-to-back years?
That it's not the Braves. Yeah, it's probably been a while for the Phillies. Last time they won back to back was 2010 and well, I mean, between 2007 and 2011, they won the division each of those years. So it's been a little while.
Yeah, so I think this is gonna be the first time in a long time that they win back-to-back NL East titles.
So I have the Marlins, of course, in fifth place, and the worst record in baseball. Now I have them at 50 and 112, so I do not have a 40-win team this year. But I have them.
I really want to
as...
push them at 30. See, I made a whole other standings of bold predictions of like I could just really worst case situations or really great case situations.
Yeah.
One, I had the Marlins winning like 38 games. Like they'll win like 5-6 games a month.
They're chasing the Cleveland Spiders from way back when with that record.
Yeah, I mean, I have, like I said, 50 wins, which is 12 less than last year, which I think is very doable for them. In fourth place, I have the Nationals, 73 and 89. Again, a team that I wanted to give, to get to that. I think I originally actually had them at 76 wins, and then I had to take 3 away because I ran out of wins. So
Nationals fans are probably going, "Why'd you take
a theme here?"
Yeah, so I do have the Nationals getting better, but I still think they are still, they're slowly working their way up. In third place, I had the Braves at 93 and 69. I think as
wow.
Will said,
93 wins in third place.
I think that this is clearly the best division in baseball. And I also think that besides the Dodgers, these are the best 3 teams in baseball, I think. So
on paper ish.
Yes. So I have them at 93 wins. I like their pitching staff better than the the Mets. Excuse me, but it isn't what it once was, and I just have questions still about some of their guys, like if they are going to bounce back this year. When does Acuna actually come back? Which leaves in the second place Mets at 94 and 68, one more win than the Braves. I think they're going to be close. It's going to be neck and neck, as we've kind of alluded to. I just, God, got a frog in my throat, boys.
Somebody get this man a glass of water.
I think that yes, their pitching staff on paper doesn't look the best, but they have a way with kind of developing starters, and I think they'll be okay in that front. And I think, with Lindor and Soto, they're just going to be such a potent offense that I think that they're going to outdo the Braves a little bit. And then in first, I do have the Phillies, and I have them as one of 2 teams. You can probably predict the other team that has over 100 wins. I have them at.
They give them 100.
I have them at 101 and 61, 6 more wins than last year. I think that they have, probably bar none, the best starting rotation. Well, actually, the Dodgers, but they have a top 2 starting rotation in the league, no doubt about it.
Hey, they have a top rotation that they didn't have to spend video game numbers on. There you go.
You're right.
Yeah, well, no, we spend video game numbers on Wheeler.
Yeah,
not everyone though.
But yeah, I just think their pitching is going to be lights out, and their lineup is as good as it was last year. My question for them more is what happens when playoff time comes, but for the regular season, they are going to be the second best team in baseball, in my opinion. And yeah, that is a clean sleep on the Phillies. I really think that really think they're going to be a 100-win team this year.
The only thing that stopped me from saying 100, other than just I think in general, because I was thinking back to 2011 when they won 102 games and they had the 4-headed beast of Halladay, Lee, Hamels, and Oswalt. The only 2 things that really, I guess you could say, were preventing me from giving them the 100 were, one, in general, I thought teams, at least in the National League, were better than then. So they're going to not, and they're facing everyone evenly because, thank you, Manfred. But, so the schedules are obviously different, but they're going to start the season with Suarez on the injured list, and Walker, I think, I pray to God he'll be at least a little better than last year, but I have doubts, especially after how spring training has ended for him the last 2 starts. And and Strom, even though Strom might be okay for open. Well, no, I guess they got Hernandez now, so I guess he's not. But still, regardless if Strom was ready at the beginning for opening day or a little slow getting back, it's still a big piece in the bullpen that lost a couple pieces and really only brought in one guy to kind of replace at least the back end part of it. So just little things like that nowadays that I feel like took it back. But yeah, I'm glad at least someone had the guts to give him 100.
And I think like
I almost did.
Other factors too. Like
yeah,
I think
he didn't, so you didn't have the guts.
I think Stott.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, that's what I'm not saying I didn't, but don't say I almost did because I almost did too. But I didn't have the guts.
I think with their pitching, I think Stott's going to be a little bit better this year. I think Kepler's going to be
he
a
had
better,
a really good camp, by the way.
Yeah, I think Kepler is going to be better than the options that they had last year. So I think that kind of just pushes them. And again, it's only 6 more wins. Like I think this lineup is better than it was last year and is very capable. So I definitely. Last year we didn't have any 100-win teams. I don't think it's happening for back-to-back years, so I definitely had to have at least 1 or 2, and the Phillies for me are definitely one of them.
I don't think I've ever heard somebody just laissez-faire 100 wins in baseball. It's only 6 more wins.
It's just the era we're in right now.
They almost did it.
I don't know, John. Did they add +6 WAR to their lineup this year? Maybe.
Oh my god!
Which one?
Any of them? WAR.
I would love them to get 100 wins because I'd love to see the side by side of here's them with 100 wins and here's their 85 win prediction by Pacoda. Because thanks, Pacoda.
Yeah, Pacoda, we love you, but really don't.
I swear we're switching to Fangraphs. Projections next year.
I just want to destroy Pacoda. That's all the reason why I want to bring
is
him
famous, and we like to make fun of them because
I made a note the other day off air where I was saying that I feel like as we were going through our 30 teams, we started to hate Pacoda more.
Yeah, we definitely.
I already hated them.
Yeah.
like originally we were like, okay, like there's a little bit of weirdness happening with some of these predictions. Then we're like, holy shit, where the hell did the cliff start? Like, what the fuck?
Guys, let's be real. We're not Yankees fans, so we should all hate Pacoda.
Nah, Yankee fans don't even know what Pacoda
They're
is.
gonna literally kill you, dude. They're
very generous to the Yankees every year. I'm sorry, it's a fact.
Orioles fan.
All right, let's get into the maybe most interesting division in baseball for the wrong reasons. John, I'll start with you first on this one. Give me your NL Central.
Tyler doesn't start with his own division?
No.
Wait a minute.
Is this?
Save me for last.
You got to start with yours.
No, what the
I'm just a lowly host.
I don't care.
Yeah, who talks way too much like an analyst.
All right, well then I'm gonna.
He said you talk too much.
Wow. Okay. All right, fine. I will start with my pick then. This is gonna get interesting. At the bottom, I had the Cardinals in.
Ooh, I thought you'd say Pirates.
5th place at 73 and 89, 10 less wins than they did last year. We've covered it in their season preview, but they got young, and I think they're gonna definitely take a step back. Their starting rotation, I do not like in the slightest. And probably the only reason I actually have them below the Pirates because I do think the Pirates rotation is better, and that helps when you have Skeens in it. But I have them at 73 and 89. In 4th place, I do have the Pirates, the Buccos at 74 and 88. 2 less wins than last year. I don't think. Did they get better offensively? Hard to say. I mean, Horowitz, we'll see what he brings to the table. But with so much to be desired there. Jared Jones, we don't know. He's got elbow discomfort. He's getting a second opinion. I've already prepared for the worst, which would be a huge blow to our starting rotation. And instead of, bringing up the guys that had good camps like Harrington, we decided to go with a long reliever as our 5th starter this year. So that's kind of my piece on that. I have them at 74 wins. In 3rd place, the one that is going to bite me because it always does, I had the Brewers at 82 and 80.
I was going to say, what happened to not doubting the Brewers?
We
made a whole stink about that.
I know.
This is I'm going to make this short all about being a hypocrite.
It is hypocritical. It really is. I understand. I get it. But some teams I thought had to make jumps. That means that other teams had to come down. The Brewers are still going to be over 500.
Oh, God.
We
I
need to
still
take
like
more
their
wins away from the
rotation.
Nationals for this.
This is yeah, really. This is the one. This is the one where I feel I could be off by like 10 plus wins again. So we'll see. But I have them in third place. In second place, I have the Chicago Cubs, which means my first place team for this division. I am sticking with it. The Cincinnati Reds will win the NL Central in 2025. I have the
Okay,
Cubs.
Tyler got this one wrong. Cool.
I have the Cubs at 84 and 78. I have the Reds at 85 and 77. Winning the division with 85 games, tragic. But I think it's going to happen this year. I can guarantee the Cubs are at least going to be 0 and 2. So that there's that. But look, the Cubs got better. They did. But I'm telling you, it wasn't even so much about the Cubs. The Reds went 77 and 85 last year. Okay. That was without Terry Francona. Terry Francona is a wizard. He is God's gift to the Cincinnati Reds, and as much as I hate it as a Pirates fan, they are going to get better, and I think because of that, they're going to win the division. The projections that I swear to God, and I kind of hate doing this sometimes, but I'm really considering throwing a bet down on them winning this division because I still think they have the lowest odds, or at least a lot of places I've seen that, which is bananas to me. Their roster, you could argue, got better. I know they are dealing with some injuries right now. I think Spencer Steer is out right now at this point in time, but their roster got better. But again, it's Terry Francona, baby. That's all they need. And I do think that the Reds are going to win the division. And I did have to have a bold take in there, and I was teetering with this when we did the Reds episode, and I said, you know what, I got to stick with it. I really do feel this. Terry Francona is going to do it. So I have the Reds in first place in the NL Central again, only with 85 wins though. I did say early, like a while ago, I said the Reds' best chance to make the playoffs is through the division. I still believe that. There's no way they're competing with the D-backs or the Mets or the Braves, but they can win this division. I can assure you that. All right, John. Now you may do your NL.
Oh, now I may go. Okay.
Yes, I was trying to let you.
Wow, I see how it
I
is.
like it better that Tyler went first.
I do too. I do too, because he was wrong. Anyway, I'm going to start this lovely division off with the baby Cards. They are exactly that. They are young, they are inexperienced, and they are just Cardinals fans. Just save your money for the 2026 season, and when you're going to the World Series in another 5 years. Okay, so next I have the Pirates at 76 wins. I think they're going to start the season hot, like they typically do.
Look into my crystal ball of the last 2 years.
But because more so because of Paul Skeens seems to have a fire to want to win, especially after saying that he's sick of seeing one wild card game.
By the way, he's been on the team for less than a year, and he's been on the team for 9 months, and he's like, I'm fed up. Great
losing.
Nothing. What did you say to the man?
I'm tired of this, Grandpa. Well, that's just too damn bad, Paul. You're on the Pirates. Get used to it.
Like, he's literally been here for like less than a year, and it's like, yeah, we the fans deserve better.
Man hasn't even unpacked his bags yet, and he's sick of losing. Anyway, next I have the lovely Reds at 80 and 82. You're right, Ty. Scary Terry is going to make a difference. He's going to improve them by a whole 4 games. So that's my prediction on that one. Anyway, then I have the lovely Brew Crew. I have them at 88 and 74. So that leaves the North Side, Wrigleyville, winning this division at 90 and 72. You're welcome, Cubs. I think you made the most leaps and bounds ahead of everybody else in this joke of a division. So, yeah, good for you. Good job, Chicago.
Yeah. Well, let me see those Reds in first place, buddy.
Why
In
are
last
you rooting
place.
for the Reds? They're in your division.
I know. I just like to be a goof. I don't know.
In last
You're gonna
place.
get a
Just likes to
jersey
be
that is. You're gonna get a jersey that's half Reds, half Detroit, and there's gonna be a little yellow P stain in the bottom right corner.
Dang.
Oh goodness. All right. What do you got, Will?
I have the Cardinals in last as well. I have them at 72 and 90, and I don't think there's really much else to add than what's already been said. The best thing for them is that they can trade away Arenado before the season ends. If that happens, and I think it's a successful season, honestly, because then you can look forward to the future.
So far, we're all the same on the last place team.
Well,
That's the one thing that stands out between all the divisions. I feel like there's a clear-cut bottom, and then however you want to arrange everyone else.
Trust me, John. We're gonna go 6 for 6. So you know.
So you all have the Dodgers in last too? No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In
Everybody
fourth place,
gets hurt from the Dodgers.
In fourth place, I have the Pirates at 74 and 88. I'm with you. I am fully expecting Jared Jones to get Tommy John, and there goes his season. So I think the team they've been 76 and 76 the last couple of years. I think they're just pitching because of the injuries and just slight step back, and that's about it. They really just need a couple extra pieces that at least shows the life that they are ready to take the next steps forward, and it's not this year. So hopefully Paul Skeens will be a good spokesperson when it comes to the 2025 offseason.
I'm tired of losing again.
And now the top 3 spots. In third, I also have the Brewers. I gave them 84 wins. It's possible, but my thing before was really the 2 things I had to factor in was I was on the side of the Reds. I thought we're going to make a jump, so I had to decide where I'd put them within this mix. And I still think the Cubs are a smidge better than the Brewers on paper. But I mean, obviously Pat Murphy as a manager clearly did a lot his first year and could easily prove me wrong. I think they haven't done anything to replace Adames offensively. And so if Churio can take another huge step this year and become an MVP candidate, and if Hoskins becomes more of the person he was in Philly, then I can think this team has the chance to take the division. But if you get kind of what you got last year from both of those guys, then I think they're going to fall back a little bit as other teams did get better. And in second place, I have the Cubs.
Yes.
And now I have to explain myself. The biggest factor, this came down to a lot of back and forth, and I decided mainly on one thing I was going to stick with. I think not just that, I'm going to go as far as saying Council's going to be the death of the Cubs. I'm going to say that because think about when they fired David Ross and brought on Craig Counsell. Like on paper, when it comes to managerial experience, it was like, wow, that's a great thing. But it seemed really kind of like a stab in the back to David Ross and what he had done with that organization prior to that. Like it really kind of seemed unfair to me. And I'm almost curious if all right, so the first year they got with Counsell was a lot of what they got the previous season with Ross, which was a lot of mediocre baseball. Then they got hot late and finished second. And I'm like, they got better. One thing I've settled on more is, all right, offensively, I guess behind Tucker, are they as set as I was feeling before? Maybe not. And maybe I do have some questions now, is Counsell really being the right guy to lead that team? And so as I said way back with the AL Central, I played managerial factors a lot into my prediction. And I'm not going to go against Francona and his history right now as a manager. So I have the Reds leading the division with 87 wins and the Cubs second at 85.
Let's go.
You're welcome, Tyler.
I swayed somebody. I sweet talk somebody in the picture.
I had the Reds. I mean, when I started my predictions, the Cubs were in first with probably about 88 wins, and the Reds were second. And I put them as they were a wild card team. They weren't a wild card team. And then as time went on, and I just kept telling myself, I'm like, I believe a lot in Francona, and we made the comments about what he did with the Indians back then when he started. and what he turned around from the previous season. And I do believe those teams are very similar in how they were built between the Indians back then and the Reds now. I'm going to go with it. I'm going to go with it until Francona proves me wrong or Council or the Brewers say, now we're taking this division. But, I wanted to be bold in my predictions. And so, God damn it, the Reds are going to take back the Central.
So we all think Scary Terry is going to make a difference. Just some
you don't. Shut up. No, you don't. No, you don't.
Hey, 4 wins is 4 wins, buddy.
Dude, we're gonna either look smart as hell or dumb as hell. It's not gonna be anything in between. But I gotta say, I felt the same feeling about the Tigers last year, and they didn't win the division, but they made the playoffs. That I feel with this Reds team. I really believe that
there's a prediction I saw somewhere.
I swear to God, when we get off this podcast, I might actually place a bet on them winning the division. I'm dead on it.
I'm holding you to it now because you say stuff like this all the time. Then you never place the bet, and then you complain the whole season like, "Fuck, I really should have placed the bet on it. I saw the odds like way ahead of time. I should have put it in." And then you never do
it on air, or it doesn't count.
I don't even know if I have any money in my account. Relax.
Yeah, he's got to call his account real quick.
But no, there was some prediction I saw somewhere of like it was I think a group of experts or something. I think it was on the MLB app. They had the Reds as a wild card team.
Yeah. But again, to me, I just don't see them competing with the other wild card teams. I don't see more than one team coming out of the Central. So now
I was thinking 2 at one point. I was thinking there was a shot at 2 and surprised like the AL Central did last year, but I don't think any more than that.
I guess you can make the argument, well, like, compared to the Diamondbacks, they're playing, less good teams in their division, so it could help them get more wins, but I don't know. I still don't see them on the same level as the D-backs.
Yeah, I'm telling you though, I can't wait for Milwaukee.
I know that
it's possible
on all
Tyler.
Of you. So funny.
Tyler puts the bet on the Reds, and you put the bet on the Brewers just to say, you know what, you spite them. I'm
gonna double.
You know what?
I'm gonna put a bet on the Cubs.
There you go.
Parlay. Cincinnati to win the division and some over under from Milwaukee.
Yeah. Well, now we're looking at.
I'll do you one better. Parlay all of that with an over under on the amount of losses that the Marlins have.
There you go.
All right, let's finish this long-winded predictions video up with the NL West, and we probably know who the bottom and the top are of this division, but let's see everything in between.
Well, you'd be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised. You're bait. I'm not biting.
You know what? I hope one of us.
I tried, chat. I tried.
One of us, as in he's talking about himself.
Well, John, go ahead. You tell me why the Dodgers are a 5th place team.
They're a 5th place team because we flipped the division upside down. And we're playing by golf rules.
You were trying to shake the sand out of the bag like you just went to the beach. And that's how they fell.
We're playing by golf rules. Yeah. Anyway, so at the bottom, I have the Rockies getting high in the mountains over there. The only thing about as high as Denver right now is the Rockies' loss total. I have them at 67 and 95. Excuse me. Then I have the Giants making a small improvement. 81-81. Arizona, I have them in 3rd place at 87 and 75. Then I have the Friars at 90 and 72. And lastly, I have my only 100-win team, because if they don't win 100 wins, there's something wrong with this team, and Dave Roberts should be fired. I have the Dodgers. I have the Dodgers at 103 and 59.
Okay. All right, well, go ahead.
John was nicer to the Rockies than I was, and I was the one that was nicer to the Rockies when we did the Rockies video. But you see how much Nolan Jones pisses me off now. I have the Rockies in last at 60 and 102. So they're gonna give us 300 lost teams this year. So we're going to have more 100 lost teams than 100 win teams.
True.
Shocker.
Crazy.
Fourth place, doing a little worse, are the Giants. I have them at 78 and 84. Things happen, and I don't trust the Giants.
Things happen, guys.
I don't know. I thought they were going to do better than they did last year, and this year I'm like, I know you brought in Adames, but I'm just, I don't buy it yet. I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe you need someone else. Maybe you need someone in the division to keel over. Maybe it's the Padres. Who knows?
Maybe it's Maybelline.
Maybe.
Okay.
In third place, going a little against what I said in our episode, I have the Padres at 87 and 75. I decided from our episode that depth really is a bit of a question with this team. I still think they are a really good playoff caliber team. But I'm not as positive at them being a 90-win team as I had said before. So I have them comfortable at third with 87 wins. And second are the Diamondbacks with 89 wins. Literally the exact same total they had last year. And my feelings are still they're literally the same team as they were last year. It's just their offense is a tad down and their starting pitching is a little better. That's about it. And so in first place with 104 wins are the Dodgers. And if I have to give an explanation to why they're a 104 win team, then you clearly don't know baseball.
All right. Well, I was even harsher on the Rockies than you guys were. I have the Rockies at 56 and 106. So I do have a third 50-win team. They brought in Estrada, the one guy they brought in. He's now out for like a month or two. Their pitching sucks. There's nothing good about this team.
Chris Bryant, MVP.
Oh my God, their pitching sucks. There's nothing good about this team. What else is new?
The Giants I have in fourth place, taking even farther of a step back than Will actually has. I have them at 76 and 86. Like he said, I don't really buy too much of what they're selling right now. And this division at the top is so good. I just think they're going to suffer a little bit. Also, still crazy to me that they had 80 wins last year. It just doesn't feel like that was the case. So they step back by 4. In third place, I have the Padres with the same exact win total as Will had. I have them at 87 and 75. I have questions about their rotation with Musgrove going down, with Darvish now hurt. Apparently, not apparently, like Cease still being. I know that's less likely now, but I still don't know why Cease was
As
being
if they're out of it.
offered. Yeah. I still have some faith in that offense, but I do see them in third place. I had the D-backs in second at 90 and 72. And again, a very similar team to last year. I do think their pitching staff is much better, and I still would say that it could be like a top 7, top 8 rotation in the league. But we will have to see with that. And the Dodgers, my other 100-win team, I have them at 105 and 57. 7 more wins than they did last year.
One win at a time.
Yeah, I think I had them at 110 last year, which is kind of crazy looking back. But I think as we've kind of talked about with how baseball has gotten better, I think there's more mediocre teams or above average teams than there were. I think you're going to see less and less of those
50 feet of crap, and then there's us.
Yeah.
The us is the Dodgers all the way up here.
So I of course have the Dodgers in first, which means for me, my wild cards. So recapping, I had the Phillies in first. In the East, I had the Reds first. In the Central, I had the Dodgers first. In the West, and my wild cards are the Mets are the first wild card, the Braves are the second wild card, and the D-backs are the third wild card, leaving out the Padres by 2 games, and the Cubs would be the team after that, I believe. But the Padres would be the first team out for my playoff scenario. What about you, John?
So my first wild card team is the Padres at 90 wins. My second is the Mets with 89 and 73. Braves at 89 and 73. My first team out is the Brew Crew at 88 wins. And the Diamondbacks at 87 wins are second for me.
You're a little salty about Corbin Burns, or no? I'm kidding.
No, I'm not salty. I just don't think that they're gonna be
They're
that
bland,
great.
'cause they
I don't
need
know,
salt.
man. I have a feeling
just-
about the D-backs this year too. I think the D-backs could be good as hell. I really do.
I don't think so.
Okay, fair enough. Will, what about you? What are your wild card teams?
Most of my division winners again are the Dodgers, Reds, and Phillies. And wild card, Braves get the first spot, Diamondbacks get the second, and Padres get the third. So the first team out are the New York Mets, which is why I am now New York's #1 fan. As
Public
I
enemy.
say, go fuck yourself to the Mets and the Yankees.
Hey, there's our PG-13 rating.
Oh, love that. All right, that is
Wholeheartedly,
oh,
that's how I feel.
Last thing. I guess we'll do our way too early World Series predictions. John, I'll let you go first.
Well, I know we're gonna be shocked by this, but I have my Orioles
Oh, wow.
facing the Padres in the World
Okay.
Series.
So not a Dodgers pick, so love that out of you. What about
I-
you?
He just wanted to
they're gonna
give the
get
Orioles a
bounced.
chance to win.
Yeah,
I think
true.
they're gonna
Yeah,
get
that's
bounced in
true.
the divisional series.
All right, what about you, Will?
Did I really think about it? No, because I want Dodgers, and I think I wrote myself a little comment. If I say anything other than the Dodgers, then I'm crazy. Because my other answer would be the Phillies, because I full-heartedly believe. I mean, I can go game by game or series by series if you really want me to break it down right now for you. Because I mean, I got the whole bracket set up right
Oh
in
my
front
God.
of me. Like I can do no.
Damn, son.
He can go inning by inning too.
Oh,
He's
I
gonna
didn't make the
go-
bracket. I can
Pitch by
just tell you what
pitch.
it is because your buys are going to be obviously you can the top 2 teams in each league, and so it's just all right. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
I don't care.
What
Phillies are
about
going to
your
win the World
AL?
Series because I said so, and I'm a Phillies fan, and Dodgers suck.
Do you have an AL team? Because the AL is hard to tell to predict.
Did I hold on? Did I have another?
Did I even bother?
Did I?
I'll be
I did.
honest.
I said the Tigers.
Oh wow, what a World Series that would be. Oh my goodness.
That'd be
God,
fun.
yeah.
Well, because here's my thing with the Tigers. At the time, I thought was all right. The AL team's not going to win the World Series, and if I'm going to go off of that whole like trend thing I'd said before about teams winning the World Series that were the top 3 in their league in runs that year, then I mean in the National League, it's most likely going to be the Dodgers, Phillies, Braves, or Diamondbacks, or Mets, or some combination of that. For the American League, I don't know. Because that's just how I feel about all the teams right now. So I figured, you know what? The Rays made the World Series in 2020, even though it was the COVID season, whatever. Like they made it doing their type of thing. It's not that you can't make the World Series doing the other method. It's just winning the World Series is the thing. So I am still full-heartedly on the side that I think the Tigers are going to be the next Rays. And then when they spend the money in the right places, because they have shown, at least in their pursuit of Bregman, that they're willing to spend money, that they will then graduate from being the next Rays to the next Astros because of all the homegrown talent and using pieces the right way. So I'm just going to take the leap and say, you know what? They get there. Do they get really anywhere in the World Series? No, they'll probably lose them 5, but nice story.
All right, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go the Phillies in the NL. I think the Phillies have enough to get it done over the Dodgers this year. I am really struggling with the AL. I think this is gonna be crazy, but I'm gonna have the Phillies and the Red Sox in the World Series this year. The only
I
other
You just made John cringe.
I
the only other
don't think that the world can handle that much of a piece of shit of a World Series.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Now this could really backfire because the Red Sox could also be like out of the playoffs.
Wait a minute, didn't you have them out of the playoffs?
No, I had
No, we
them
had
as
him
the
as a
first
wild
wild.
card team.
But I don't trust the Rangers. I don't trust the Astros. I don't trust the Mariners. I don't trust the Orioles. I have more faith in the Red Sox than I guess those guys, just based on what people think of them, and I don't think the Royals are ready yet. So I'm gonna go with the Red
Just
Sox.
look at the offense would be the thing that I would say is if you like the Red Sox offense enough and there's enough of an excuse
Yeah.
that they can get into the playoffs, they'll pull it off.
There you go. Phillies, Red Sox, the World Series for 2025.
John's about
My
to jump
prediction.
through that screen and strangle you.
That
Out of
would-
all the things said this episode, that's the one that you got.
John might not tune into that World Series. He might sit that one out.
No, I'd root for the Phillies.
Oh yes, of course. It can't be the
Well,
Red
naturally.
Sox. You can't be the
If he
Red
gets
Sox.
like another Dodgers Red Sox World Series, then he'll tune out.
Yeah, I was gonna say that
Didn't
would be
watch
my other.
Yankees Dodgers. I watched the highlights. It was very boring.
Yeah, it was. All right, that was a kind of our conclusion to Run the League in 30 days with our predictions. We are a day out from Major League Baseball starting up from 2025.
6 months of torture and then the playoffs.
Gotta love it. Enjoy the season. Hopefully, your team does better than we expected. And if you're a White Sox or Marlins fan, sorry, that's probably not going to happen.
And if
But
you're a Yankees
Or
fan,
Rockies.
fuck you, because you're gonna say shit.
If you're the
anyway.
Brewers, please don't prove us wrong this year. We're tired of looking like
gonna
idiots.
happen,
If you're the
man.
Reds, please do well so Tyler can make some money.
Love that. Love that. With
If you're
that,
anyone but the
pockets.
Dodgers, please beat the Dodgers.
please. All right. If you want to follow us on Twitter, you can follow us at BL_breakdowns. Big League Breakdowns everywhere else. Make sure to like the video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel for more, as we will be covering the upcoming season as stuff happens. And again, it'll be a fun time as we enter a new season, a new era, and of course, again, good baseball coming our way. But until next time, we will see you. That is our predictions, and go Reds.
Wear your seatbelt because baseball's back, bitches! Woo!